Hello everybody and welcome to my first proper video of 2021. Of course, my name is Dylan or Zero and welcome to Zero F1, my brand new Formula 1 channel. And today we're going to be starting off with a video which I've wanted to make for a very long time. And that is my F1 2021 predictions. Now, this is in no way a unique idea. However, I've never done one of these before, so I want to jump into it, give you my predictions, and then at the end of the season, we can see how close or how far away my predictions were. Of course, if you guys are new to the channel and you do enjoy the content that we have over here, feel free to click the subscribe button down below. We're getting pretty close to 1,000 subscribers, so that would be awesome if we could hit it. And also, if you want to support the channel and help it grow, it would be awesome if you guys could drop a like on this video as well. And of course, let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments as well. And one final note, just before we get into our predictions, I am working on a dedicated Discord server for Formula 1. So once that is up and running, I will let you guys know on the channel. But nonetheless, let's get into my 2021 predictions. So we're going to start off today's video by taking a look at the 2021 calendar. A few days ago, we did get the revised calendar, which moved Australia from the start of the season towards the end of the season. We got dates changed for Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, and China has been pulled from the calendar, and we don't even know if it's going to be returning. Now, on the calendar, we do have one to-be-confirmed race, which is race 3. That was originally going to be China until it got pulled from the calendar, and we still have yet to know what that race is going to be. My prediction is that we will be going to Portimao in Portugal. That is what is rumored to be happening, and that kind of makes sense. It's still another track that's in Europe. We raced there last year, so we know that the race can go ahead, and it's not too far away from Italy as well. So Portimao in Portugal does make sense to be race 3. I also think that a lot of street tracks this year are not going to go ahead. Of course, a lot of street tracks you need to close early and then you need to build the tracks. That's one of the reasons why Australia has moved towards the end of the season, because it's not physically possible to do that right now. So I actually don't think that Monaco, Azerbaijan, and Canada are going to go ahead. That's 3 street tracks back to back, and I just can't see it possible that those races are going to go ahead. I feel like those races will be replaced by something else. Races like Turkey or Mugello. There is also a little bit of doubt over the race in the United Kingdom. COVID in the UK right now is probably the worst it's ever been. However, I still think it might go ahead for the reason that 6 out of the 10 teams are based in the UK. I think that's going to make it a little bit easier to organize that track, and I still do think it's going to go ahead. However, I think quite a few tracks on the late end of the season are not going to go ahead as well. I don't think Singapore is going to go ahead, another street track. I'm also in doubt about the USA track. I feel like America right now is a little bit crazy. I don't see that race going ahead. And my honest opinion as well is that even though Australia's moved towards the end of the season, I still don't see that race going ahead as well. I still feel like Australia is going to be pulled from the calendar. I can see race 5, 6, and 7 getting an alternative race put in place. However, towards the end of the season, I don't think we're going to get those races replaced by another track. So Singapore, America, and Australia, I don't think we'll have any race in place of them. So I'm predicting we're probably going to be looking at about an 18-19 race calendar, provided that things do not get any worse with the current pandemic. So now let's get into some individual predictions, and we're going to be starting off by talking about what I think is going to be the best of the rest. We're going to be taking a look at the team, so the team that's going to be behind Mercedes and Red Bull, and my prediction is that Aston Martin are going to be best of the rest. I think they're going to pip McLaren, Renault or Alpine, and Ferrari to be that next best team. And there are multiple reasons for my prediction. First of all, they were competitive last year in that pink Mercedes. They would have finished best of the rest if they didn't get those points deducted. I think it was 25 points deducted for those illegal brake ducts that they used on their car for the first few races. Now, those points were understandably deducted. Can't argue with that. However, without that, they would have become best of the rest. And I don't think they're going to make any mistakes like that this year. On top of that, I think Lance Stroll started off the season very well. Perez ended the season very well, but none of them were consistent throughout the entire season. And you do also have to keep in mind that Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll both had COVID, with Sergio missing 2 races of the season and Lance Stroll missing 1. Hopefully, Vettel and Stroll next year are going to be consistent, but most crucially, the reason why I think Aston Martin are going to be best of the rest is all down to the token system to upgrade your cars from 2020 to 2021. Now, each team's been given 2 tokens to upgrade their cars. So if you want to upgrade the suspension, that's 1 token. If you want to update somewhere else on the car, that's another token. Aston Martin and also AlphaTauri can actually upgrade their cars more than the other teams, and that's because they were using a year-old gearbox and suspension. So Aston Martin, which was Racing Point last year, were using the 2019 suspension and gearbox of Mercedes. Now, in 2020, Mercedes upgraded theirs to a 2020 spec, and Aston Martin can actually use the Mercedes 2020 gearbox and suspension upgrades without using any of the tokens. So already, the suspension and gearbox is going to be upgraded. It's going to be better than it was last year without using any tokens. And then they can use those tokens elsewhere on the car. For example, Aero. They can technically upgrade more of their car than the other surrounding teams. On top of that, the team that was best of the rest last year was McLaren. And yes, they are getting Mercedes engines next year. However, they may need to use both of their tokens to design their car around that Mercedes engine. So they may be using one, if not both of their tokens to first of all get that Mercedes engine to work rather than trying to improve the pace that car can provide. I think Alpine are going to be around about where McLaren are, and Ferrari, honestly, I can't see a massive jump from where they were last year. I still think they're going to be around that midfield team. Aston Martin, with those extra upgrades, getting that extra suspension and gearbox upgrade for free, I think is going to just give them the edge to be best of the rest. Now we're going to move over to a short prediction, and that is my Rookie of the Year. We have 3 rookies on the grid for 2021. We have Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri, and then we have Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin in the Haas. I think it's going to be an obvious choice, but Yuki Tsunoda is going to be the Rookie of the Year. I think that Haas is going to be horrible, and even though I think Mick Schumacher is going to have some great pace, maybe not towards the start of the season, but he's going to be able to progress as the season goes on, I don't think he's going to be able to show it in that Haas. I think Mick's also going to absolutely destroy Nikita Mazepin on the grid. It's clear to every Formula 1 fan who is the better driver out of those two, and the only reason Nikita Mazepin has made it onto the grid is because his dad is a billionaire. My next prediction is that I think one of the previous Formula 1 drivers are going to return to the grid in 2021. That driver is Alex Albon. I think Alex Albon is going to drive at least one race in 2021. I think this prediction is based off, I believe, at least one driver in 2021, unfortunately, will test positive for COVID-19 in one of the race weekends, and Alex Albon is going to be that super sub to replace them that race. Of course, Hülkenberg was the super sub last year. However, with Alex having a full season under his belt in the Red Bull car, which is a very competitive car, and he has shown overtaking talent, I think he's going to be the perfect choice that any team would pick to put in that car over Nico Hülkenberg. I have 2 more predictions for you before we jump into our drivers and constructors predictions, and this one is my biggest surprise of 2021, and that surprise is Sebastian Vettel. A lot of people doubted Vettel in 2020 in the last couple of seasons. I think he's going to be back with fire, and I think he's going to absolutely smash this season. I feel being at Ferrari took a toll on him. The team obviously don't respect him. They say one thing to him and then say the next thing. They blame him for things in the races. They've just sucked all of the life out of him, whether it be bad strategies, blaming him for things. Lots of reasons of why they've just sucked all of that energy out of him. I think he fell out of love with Ferrari, and honestly, half the time couldn't be bothered driving. He was sick of the way they treated him. You could kind of understand that a little bit on the radio when he was just silent. He wasn't responding. The way his engineers talked back to him, it just was weird and didn't make sense. The fact that he's now got out of Ferrari, he's with Aston Martin back in Formula 1. He's going to have energy. He's going to have his get up and go. I think he's going to be the number 1 driver, even though Lance Stroll's dad owns the team. I think Vettel is going to do so well in that car. People have kind of like expected him to be slow, and that's why I think Vettel is going to be a big surprise for 2021. And a lot of people that doubt Vettel are going to be like, you know what? Vettel's back. And my final individual prediction is that George Russell is going to be signed for 2022 for Mercedes in the middle of the 2021 season. Now, of course, we're waiting for Hamilton to sign his contract. If that doesn't happen, George is going to be in the car. However, if Hamilton does sign for Mercedes, which I think he will, then I think that George Russell's going to sign a contract for 2022, but it's going to get announced in the middle of the 2021 season. I think if Hamilton has a multi-year contract, Bottas will be leaving the team, and that George Russell will be replacing him, and they're going to announce it in the middle of the season rather than waiting till after the end of the season. I feel like they don't want to risk losing George. You know, if George has it in his head, or there's rumors going around that there's going to be an extension of Valtteri Bottas's contract, then George is going to be like, I don't want to stay at Williams. I want to be in a more competitive car. So Red Bull or another team might want to snatch him up because his contract does end at the end of the year. I don't think Mercedes are going to want that to even be a possibility. So I think mid-season, Mercedes are going to sign George to team up with Lewis Hamilton, unless Hamilton's only on a one-year contract, decides to retire at the end of the year, and then will partner Bottas. Either way, I think we're going to find out around the middle of the season that George Russell will be driving for Mercedes in 2022. And I cannot wait for that to happen. So now we're going to move over to our drivers' predictions. I'm going to be talking you through all of my drivers from 20th up into first place, giving my reasons why, but we're only going to briefly go over these, and then we're going to do the same with the constructors as well. So in 20th place, I have put Nikita Mazepin. I would ideally like someone else in that team instead, but it looks like Mazepin is going to be driving with Haas, and I think that Haas car is not going to be very good. I can see Mazepin finishing 20th in the title next year. I feel like Mick's going to be a better driver, but with that Haas being pretty bad, I think they are going to be behind both Williams. In 19th place, we have Mick Schumacher. Amazing talent. He showed it last year in Formula 2. However, once again, that Haas car I can see being one of the worst on the grid. It's going to be difficult for Mick to show his talent. Hopefully he can do that in the next year or so. I just don't see them being as competitive as the Williams drivers, considering they are also both rookie. You know, George is in his third year in Formula 1 now. He's had some experience in the Mercedes. Nicholas Latifi has had a full season in Formula 1 as well, whereas Mick and Nikita are both rookies. I can see them both falling behind the Williams drivers. In 18th place, we have Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. I think he will pick up a point or two, and I can see the Williams being more competitive this year. Yes, you only have 2 tokens to be able to upgrade your cars. However, I feel like Williams, they've been doing a lot of changes over there recently. We have seen some improvements, especially from George Russell's side, so I can see them being more competitive, getting closer to that midfield team and hopefully picking up a point or two. So in 18th, we have Nicholas Latifi. In 17th place, we have Antonio Giovinazzi. I'm actually surprised he's still on the grid this year. Occasionally, he's shown sparks of talent, but Kimi's over 40 years old now, and he's still a match for young Antonio Giovinazzi. You would expect Antonio, being his age and his talent, to be able to be ahead of Kimi quite significantly. And yes, he beat him on occasional results, but Kimi's still around the same pace where Antonio is, and considering the age gap, you would expect Antonio to be a lot faster. Antonio occasionally shows sparks of talent, especially on his lap ones. He's very good at making up positions on the first lap. However, he still makes a lot of mistakes, and that's why I've put Giovinazzi in 17th place. In 16th place, I've put Kimi Räikkönen in the Alfa Romeo as well. Once again, I think we'll pick up a few points here and there. I don't know how long Kimi's going to be staying in Formula 1, but I still think he's going to have a slight edge over Giovinazzi. I just feel Giovinazzi is going to have a good few races, but then he's also going to make more mistakes than Kimi as well. And that's why we put Kimi in 16th place. 15th place is going to go to our boy, George Russell. He is going to have a good few races. Like I said, I think that Williams is going to be more competitive. I think George Russell is going to do incredible in qualifying once again. Maybe even make a cheeky Q3 appearance. But I think it's his qualifying pace which is going to bring him ahead of the Alfa Romeos and the Haas, maybe an Alfa Tauri and 2, or if there's any penalties and stuff like that. And then he's going to hold his own in the race and snag himself some points throughout the season. I think that's what's going to happen. We're probably going to have a few crazy races as well where he has a chance to pick up some more points, and I feel like he's just getting better and better. Yes, he's made a few mistakes here and there, but typically all of the crazy races last year where you could have that Williams picking up some points, he's either had an engine failure or someone's crashed into him, bar the one time where he crashed under the safety car. So in 15th place, we are putting our boy George Russell. In 14th place, I put Yuki Tsunoda in the Alpha Tauri. I don't think he's going to be on the pace with Pierre Gasly. I think he's going to do well in the Alpha Tauri. I just don't see them being as competitive as the other midfield teams like Alpine and Aston Martin, Ferrari, Renault, McLaren. So I can see him on the backside of that. I still think Yuki's going to do very well. He's going to get some top 10 finishes, grab up a bunch of points. But I think Pierre, being in Formula 1 for so long, is going to be quicker. So in 14th place, we have Yuki Tsunoda. 13th place, I have put Pierre Gasly as well in the AlphaTauri. Once again, I don't think that car is going to be as competitive as some of the other midfield cars. And even though Pierre Gasly had an amazing season last year, particularly at the start, he kind of dropped off towards the edge. He did get 25 points in Italy from very lucky circumstances. He happened to pit before the pit lane was closed, which means he jumped up, which I think he was running at about 12th place in that race, all the way up to near the front. Yes, he did well to hold Carlos Sainz behind, and he did well to stay in first place, but there's no doubt in my mind he was very lucky to be in a points position when he was running around 12th before any of the incidents, and may have not even picked up points in that race if he didn't look in on the pit lane being closed. Don't get me wrong, he had an amazing season, but those extra 25 points I think bumped him a lot higher up the grid on the driver's side than it should have done. Now I think it's going to be getting a lot more difficult to decide the drivers. I feel like 12th place up to probably 6th or 7th. I feel like all of those drivers are going to be very close because this is your Aston Martins and your McLarens and Ferrari and all of those close teams. I feel like it's going to be which car suits which track better. But in 12th place, we have put Esteban Ocon in the Alpine, the Renault for 2021. I love Esteban Ocon. He showed some amazing talent in the Force India when he was up against Sergio Perez, a very highly rated driver already, and could have finished ahead of him in the Drivers' Championship if he didn't have so much bad luck. I do feel that year out of Formula 1 definitely took its toll, and especially having a teammate like Daniel Ricciardo, it can knock your confidence when he's out-qualifying you and outperforming you in the race the majority of the season. So I still feel like he's going to have some to build off, and especially having Fernando Alonso as your teammate in 2021, that could knock you back as well. And that's the main reason why I put Esteban Ocon at number 12. In 11th place, I've put Fernando Alonso. I think people are going to be very upset that I've only put Fernando in 11th place. Not even the top 10, but I feel like the Alpine is going to be so close with the midfield teams. I think he's going to finish ahead of Esteban Ocon. There's no doubt Fernando has incredible talent. But having a few years out, it's going to take a little bit of a toll. He is getting older. He's still very talented, but I just feel like the other teams are just going to be able to have that extra oomph to be able to keep ahead of him. So I do feel like Fernando Alonso is going to do good. He's going to be better next year. 11th place is where I've put him, and I do apologize if that has upset a lot of people that absolutely love Fernando. I think he's a great character. He's good on the track, but I feel like those few years out are going to take a little bit of a toll on him, more than he probably expects. In 10th place, I have put Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. I feel like Lance had a good start to last year. He was leading the best of the rest constructors for quite a while. He got himself a pole position as well. The only driver outside of Mercedes and Red Bull to get a pole position. So that is an amazing achievement for Lance Stroll. No doubt he had some horrible luck. He got COVID. He got a tire puncture for no reason. He had issues on his car and stuff like that. So no doubt the results of last year didn't show his talent. He definitely should have finished up higher than he did. And I don't think he's a bad driver. He's still improving. My only thing is I think Sebastian Vettel is going to be incredible next year. He's going to be full of fire in that Aston Martin, and that's going to lock Stroll's confidence a little bit. I think he's going to make a few mistakes. He's going to maybe have some reliability issues, and he's going to be squabbling along the midfield team, and I feel like that's where he's going to kind of crack under a bit of the pressure. I feel like some of the other drivers, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, all of them in very similar pace cars are just going to be making less mistakes than Lance. And I feel like that's why he's only going to be 10th in the Drivers' Championship. In 9th place, I put Smooth Operator. Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, I have put as 9th place. I feel like the Ferrari's not going to be as competitive as they hope to be. I don't think they're going to be ahead of all of the midfield teams and back close to the Red Bull. And Carlos, we know the Ferrari's a difficult car to drive. It's probably designed towards Charles Leclerc. And the fact that he hasn't driven the Ferrari as well is going to put him on a bit of the back foot. But I do still think he's going to finish in the top 10. I think he's going to be very close to Charles Leclerc. I think Carlos is going to surprise a lot more people than you think. He was very close to all of his teammates in Toro Rosso, and then they got bumped into Red Bull. Carlos was not. And I do feel sorry for him that he kind of got put to the side. Then he came to McLaren, showed what he's got, Ferrari have seen that. They've brought him on, and I think he's going to be closer to Charles than people think. I hope there's not a lot of team orders to prioritize Charles. It is Ferrari, so it's probably going to happen. But I hope that Carlos shows people exactly how much pace he's got, and I think he's going to be very close to Leclerc. In 8th place, I have put Charles Leclerc. I think he got some great races last year. He finished on the podium a few times. He drove absolutely incredible in that Ferrari, which is a horrible car to drive. Some of the results based on strategy rather than pure pace, doing one-stop strategies, which worked out and things like that. So I do feel like where he finished probably was higher than the car's performance. And I think that's down to Charles overdriving the car along with strategy, but I think he's only going to finish 8th place this season. I think McLaren, Aston Martin are going to be quicker, or at least Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin is going to be quicker. So we have only put Charles Leclerc in 8th place. In 7th place, we have the man himself, Lando Norris in the McLaren. What an absolute legend he is. We absolutely love Lando Norris. If you don't like Lando, I don't know what you're doing, but we have Lando Norris in 7th place. No doubt, in his 3rd season of McLaren, he's going to be absolutely incredible, unless he has some bad luck. But that McLaren is on the up. They are putting Mercedes engine in. They do have to design the car around the Mercedes engines, but I think he's going to be great in that car. We put him in 7th, one spot behind Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren as well. The new boy, the Aussie, the Honey Badger, making it into McLaren. Daniel Ricciardo, one of the best drivers on the grid, is going to be driving like a madman in that McLaren. Last of the late breakers, he's going to be sending it to any car that's in front of him, defending for all his might, and I think Daniel is going to do an incredible job in that McLaren, and pulling it into 6th place. We're going to see some amazing on-track action with Daniel Ricciardo in that McLaren, Charles Leclerc in that Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. We are going to see some great on-track battles this year, and I think Daniel Ricciardo is going to show just what talent he's got in that McLaren. In 5th place, I have put probably the one that you're not expecting, Sebastian Vettel in Aston Martin. Considering Lance is only in 10th, why have you put Vettel in 5th? I just think he's going to be so good. Like I said earlier, I think Vettel's going to be my biggest surprise. I think he's going to be the best of the rest in the drivers. I think he's going to do an amazing job. I think he's going to be quick. He's going to get a few podiums, maybe even get himself a cheeky win if there's some scuffles with the Red Bull and Mercedes up ahead, or it's a crazy race. I think they're going to be a little bit closer to Red Bull and Mercedes than they were last year, and I think they're going to bridge a little bit more of a gap between McLaren and Ferrari and Alpine behind them. That's what I'm expecting. But I really hope Vettel's back. I really hope he's going to show us what he's made of. I hope it was down to Ferrari sucking all the energy out of him, and it's not that he's just lost it a little bit. I don't think he has. He's going to come back, and I think he's going to get 5th next year in the drivers' standings. In 4th place, I have put Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. I think he is a great driver. I think he is going to be behind Max, though. I think, obviously, Max is the #1 driver. Occasionally, they may have Perez there to try and mess up Mercedes' strategy so Max can get a few wins in there, try and help him get the constructors. But no doubt, Perez is going to get a bunch of podiums in 2021. I've got it in my head, though, that he's not going to get a win. I feel like the wins are just going to be from the Mercedes and Max. I don't know why. I've just got this gut feeling that he's not going to get a win. Anytime he might be close to a win, something's going to go wrong or something like that, or he's just not going to be in a position. He's going to be behind the Mercedes or Max or something like that. I think he's going to get a bunch of seconds, but he's just not going to get that top step. That's just my feeling. He's probably going to be fighting with Bottas quite a lot. I think it's going to be Max versus Hamilton and Bottas versus Perez. In 3rd place, I have put Valtteri Bottas. I don't know what version of Valtteri we're on right now, but I think he's only going to get 3rd in 2021. I feel like his pace is going to drop off towards the end of the season. And let's be honest, I know Bottas had some bad luck in 2020, but if Max didn't have 5 DNFs to, I think, Bottas's 1, Max would have finished way ahead of him in the driver's standings. So I can see Max beating Bottas in 2021, unless for some reason Max has more horrible bad luck. In 2nd place, we have Max Verstappen. I don't think that Red Bull car is quick enough to challenge the Mercedes, especially over a full season. He's going to get himself some wins. He may get himself a few poles. It depends how competitive in one lap the Mercedes is compared to the Red Bull, but he's going to get a few wins. It's going to happen. He's only going to get 2nd place because Hamilton in that Mercedes is going to absolutely destroy anyone else over the entire season. It's the theme we've had. It's the way it's going to go, especially that Mercedes stopped updating the car around mid-season last year and have been focusing on this year. It means they've even got more of a head start than the other teams. And of course, the Drivers' Championship winning an 8th world title is going to be Lewis Hamilton. He may retire after 2021, and then we're going to have George and Bottas in 2022. But I do think Lewis Hamilton is going to be your world champion in 2021. He's going to break that 100 pole positions, that 100 wins. It's going to happen, and more records are just going to keep getting broken. So there you go, guys. That is my drivers' predictions. Now let's quickly move over to the constructors. I think we're going to see Haas in 10th place, Williams in 9th, Alfa Romeo in 8th, AlphaTauri in 7th, Ferrari in 6th, Alpine in 5th, McLaren 4th, Aston Martin best of the rest in 3rd, Red Bull 2nd, and Mercedes will win the Constructors as well for an 8th time in a row. Short and sweet at the end there, but let me know your thoughts. Apologies, this video is so long, but if you made it to the end, I do appreciate it. Stay tuned for some more videos, which aren't going to be this long, but hopefully you will find them interesting nonetheless. And just remember, if you guys made it to the end and you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and keep your eye out for some more videos on the channel. But that's my 2021 predictions. We are going to go back at the end of the season and review this and see just how close or far away I am. But nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. My name is Dylan. This is Zero F1, and I'll catch you all in another video.